It is no exaggeration to say that with the launch of the Leica M3 in 1954, a defining milestone was reached. The introduction of this camera influenced Leica and the world of photography ever since. The core values of the brand that were established at this point, the iconic design, innovative technology, and the unwavering focus on the essentials, have pretty much led the way for everything that followed. Shortly after the M3 was introduced, professional photographers voiced their need for a M camera better suited to the demands of their work. Dr. Ludwig Leitz, the head of the development department at that point, listened to them, and a few years later, in 1956, the Leica MP was introduced. Hello everyone, and welcome to you, Stefan Daniel. Thank you so much for joining us today.
It's my absolute pleasure, Laura.
Diving a bit deeper into the topic of our conversation today, I would like to start by asking you, how would you say that the Leica MP from that time embodies the core values that I just mentioned?
We have a saying that our products should have everything you need, but not more. And the MP embodies that philosophy in a very, very point-on way, because, for example, the self-timer was omitted because the professional photographers didn't need a self-timer. And also the Leica Vid, the fast winding system, was incorporated because before that it only existed for the screw mount Leicas. And it was a heavy request to build a faster camera, which is immediately ready to shoot. This is how, what makes this camera so special, because it was up on the request of professional photographers, this camera was built.
It's beautiful that a camera that was so shaped by the needs of the professionals at that time then came out of that. What do you think does that reveal to us about Leica's connection and relationship to photographic practice at that time?
So the camera was built on the demand of professional photographers. And our recordings say that Ludwig Leitz was responding to the wish of Alfred Eisenstedt or David Douglas Duncan. They wanted a Leica M, but they wanted to have it faster, and also things they didn't need, they didn't want, such as the self-timer. Before the MP came along, special cameras were built, the M3D for David Douglas Duncan, and the M3E for Eisenstedt. And these were the predecessors for the later on MP in 1956.
And what about the colors? Were they both chrome?
Eisenstedt was chrome, and David Douglas Duncan was black, I think.
Would you say that the reissue of the MP was also Leica listening to their customers?
In a way, yes, because when the M6 was available and it kind of was succeeded by the M7, which had an aperture priority mode, there was a need for a classic mechanically operated Leica M. And the answer to that was the MP, which is available since 2003. And that's, by the way, also the longest production period of any Leica ever made.
Which also further emphasizes the importance of the MP model within Leica.
Yes, absolutely. And it's still one of our iconic cameras you can buy. And many of these cameras have written photographic history in the last 23 years when this camera was first launched.
I would like to come back to the MP from 1956. Can you tell us more about how we can imagine the process? Because you've mentioned Alfred Eisenstedt or even David Douglas Duncan heavily influencing the development of the Leica MP. Do you think that it was really them sitting down with Dr. Ludwig Leitz and together in collaboration discussing what they as professional photographers would need in a camera?
I think so, yes. They were not really shy to come to Wetzlar, and we even have pictures of them sitting down for dinner in Haus Friedwart, the family house of the Leitz family. And yeah, I think they were discussing face to face what they need and what would be possible and what would not be possible. And I think that's one of the secrets of Leica until this day.
You already mentioned some of the pictures now. Can you tell us about any famous pictures, well-known pictures that we know today that were taken with Leica MP cameras?
We cannot say exactly which picture has taken with which camera. But if you look at pictures from David Douglas Duncan, Eisenstedt, or many others, they may have used the MP for that. So many of the iconic pictures of the 50s and 60s, maybe also beginning of the 70s, have been shot on Leica MP cameras.
So a true testament to history, and it has witnessed so many scenes.
Yeah, it's not only a beautiful object in itself, it shaped photographic culture of the 50s and 60s.
This is nice that you mentioned this because it sort of leads us to another topic. As you already know, in the upcoming auction, we will offer 2 Leica MP cameras, number 368 in chrome and number 33 in black paint. And the fact that we offer this in the auction, but also have offered Leica MP cameras in the past, shows us that there is a certain demand of these cameras. Why do you think that the Leica MP still holds such a special place within history and Leica's history today, both among collectors, but even within the brand itself?
I think one attractive point is the low number being produced. A second is that these cameras do not bear regular serial numbers. They have their own serial numbers. And on this table is the book where we have the serial numbers recorded. So this is the original book from our archive. And it goes from number 1, shipped October 8, 1956, to New York City. And it ends with number 402 to Photoran, which is now the Leica store in Frankfurt, in August 22nd, 1958. So they're out of that counting upwards from 101 to over 6 million nowadays.
And do we know why at that time it was decided to give this camera or this camera model a special numbering?
I can only suspect that it should be kept as something special, not available to the general public, but only to professional photographers. And maybe they wanted to also give it a special numbering because it was designed to special usage. So that is super unique that this specific closed serial number is within here.
Since you've just shown us this booklet, I read somewhere, I'm not sure if this is true, that the dealers that bought the cameras or the photographers that bought the cameras, it had to be clear where they live and they had to give their name and they had to give a sort of certificate that they were actually professional photographers. Is that true? Can you tell us if that is true? And do we see that in this booklet?
So I have to say I'm a long time with Leica, but that was even before my time.
Yes.
But it is said that it was only sold to professional photographers and you had to identify yourself. In this book, we only have the recordings, which dealer or distributor it went to. But the end consumer, meaning the photographer, needed to identify him or herself.
There is one MP camera that we know who it belonged to, and that is number 368 in chrome, which will be offered in the upcoming Leitz-Photographica auction in June. We know already that it belonged to Tazio Secchiaroli, an Italian photographer. What can you tell us about this photographer and his character?
It's amazing because I was not so familiar with this name, but I did a little research and found out that Tazio must have been the inventor of paparazzism. Yeah,
Okay.
meaning that he, as a first photographer, was taking pictures of celebrities without their consent. This is maybe the birth of paparazzi. Even Federico Fellini used this photographer in one of his roles of his famous movie La Dolce Vita of 1960 with the paparazzo figure. And I think that is so special about this particular camera, number 368.
Since you used it, can you tell us any celebrities that might have been photographed with this exact camera?
I think the list is very long. It's Sophia Loren, Audrey Hepburn, Ava Gardner, Marcello Mastroianni, and many others must have been taken with that camera. So I would say it's not only a Chrome MP, it's a camera which documented La Dolce Vita in the 50s and 60s.
I mean, that is incredible. If you really use your imagination and look through the camera, you can almost imagine the people at that time and the ones that have been captured with this camera.
Definitely, yeah. It's really a piece with history and shaping, the culture, photographic culture in the 20th century.
When we look at it in a more general way, what do you think that the provenance of those MP cameras in general adds to the meaning of the Leica MP as a cultural object?
The more famous the ownership was, it will fire your imagination. Which kind of pictures were taken with it, who had it in his hand, and but also the cameras, maybe where we don't know anymore who used it and when and did which pictures with it. They also, I think, as they all were used for professional work, they all have seen the world. And many important photographs, really the most iconic pictures of the 50s and 60s, I think, are shot on MP cameras.
If we look at the other MP camera offered in the upcoming auction, it's already different because it's in black paint. And what makes the black paint version so beautiful is the brass coming through. And it sort of tells a story how it's been used. What do those black paint cameras that have those visible signs of use really tell us about the life of a professional Leica?
First, the black paint versions were only sold in very few numbers. With the MP or even the M3 or M2, black paint was always reserved for professionals who wanted to have an unobtrusive outfit, not a silver chrome finish. And that makes them special, first of all, because they're rare. But other than that, it's not a very durable surface. And that makes it so amazing because the patina, when the brass comes through, it's like wrinkles in the face of a human being. And sometimes wrinkles are so beautiful, much more beautiful than a perfect face without nothing, because you can read the life of this camera or this human being in these wrinkles or in that little imperfections coming through. And I think that makes the popularity and the charm of that black paint finish. Then you have these little bubbles, which are very common for this generation of cameras. And that all comes together. Rare, black, unique, professional, and beautiful at the same time.
What was the reason behind having a chrome version as well?
So chrome, silver chrome, was the standard surface in the 1930s to the 1970s. And black was only reserved for the professionals. In fact, the black paint version was the early days of the Leica till the mid-1930s when the silver chrome surface was invented. And then it became the standard. Afterwards, black was for professionals. But within the MP, we know that the majority even is silver chrome, so it must have appealed to many even professional photographers. Maybe they wanted to be obtrusively unobtrusive, and was saying with an amateur camera in their hand, might be.
When we look at auction results from the past, black paint versions have achieved higher results on average compared to silver chrome versions. Would you say that that is only because of the rarity, since they were produced in smaller numbers?
I think it's not only the rarity. I think it's also this special aura these cameras have, because they wear much faster than the silver chrome and produce that patina which you can read in these cameras where they have been, basically. And that makes it so desirable, from my opinion. Rare, but also beautiful.
We are here in Wetzlar today at the headquarters in Germany, where there's also the archive with hundreds, maybe even thousands of cameras. And you were kind enough to bring us one of those examples today. Can you tell us a bit more about the MP camera that is standing in front of you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I would say the number of cameras and items in the archive goes into the 10,000s. When you invited me for this talk, I said, okay, let's look for another MP camera. And this is number 392 from our archive, a silver chrome version, also with a rigid summicron on it, and of course the Leica MP. And according to the number book, it has been always in the archive or in the Leitz Museum by that time.
So it never left its home, basically.
Obviously, it never left really Wetzlar, so to say. It has some slight markings of use, but overall it's in perfect condition.
Stefan, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us today. It has been a genuine pleasure to listen to you and to learn from you. And I'm pretty sure that many of these stories will stay with us for a long time. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Laura. It was my absolute pleasure. And I'm looking forward to the auction in June.